is a new development that today, that means this year, when the academic session started, we all know that we were asked by our HM or principal that when you were provided with the teacher's diary, we were all asked to write something about or in detail about why we became a teacher. That is a teaching philosophy. We were asked to, of course, in Ernakulam region it happened. So the first session is on based on teaching philosophy. Just 1 minute. Yeah, on teaching philosophy, and it's going to be taken by Mr. M. Srinivasan, a very experienced hand in this particular field. He's in this training field in ZIT Mumbai since 2012 as training associate. His subject is mathematics. He joined KVS in the year 1993 as PGT mathematics. And he was deputed by Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan to Mongolia, India school. And he was there for almost 3 years. He's a National Incentive Awardee in 2014. He's interested in designing worksheets using open softwares. You'll be surprised to note that 1,450 Kendriya Vidyalaya teachers were trained at the workshop on designing e-resources, which was designed by Mr. M. Srinivasan. In his, there are 2 DP that you can see of Mr. Srinivasan here. In one DP, you can see him in uniform. He is an NCC officer, an officer with gazetted rank, a very rare case in Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan. I know him personally during my days in Mumbai region. I have been to ZIT Mumbai several times, and as a participant also, we have taken sessions. So a very experienced hand. So on behalf of all the participants of this in-service course and resource persons, I welcome Mr. M. Srinivasan. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice introduction. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, to all the participants. At the outset, let me thank Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan for giving me a chance to meet all the participants of in-service course, and our director of ZIT Mumbai for allowing me to take the session, and RO Ernakulam for giving me this chance, and especially the course director and the team of the in-service course for giving me a chance. Thank you very much once again. But Sara has already mentioned that we are going to take a very important topic mentioned in NEP. And you know that Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan is always a role model whenever a new idea is introduced by Government of India in education side. Whether it may be CCE or it may be NCF, it may be OTBA, it may be anything. We will be the first person to do research on that and take points from it, and training teachers on that and giving them a total information. And all our teachers are also will never, they will not leave any stone unturned, and they will do all their level best to be a role model to the teachers of the other organization how to implement a particular thing. In this fashion, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan for the past maybe 4 to 5 months, they are conducting a series of workshops or series of sessions based on this foundational numeracy, foundational literacy, and whatever the NEP has given recommendation. We are going to see a very important one today. Once again, thank you very much for giving me this chance. I am starting my presentation. Let me start my presentation on statement of teaching philosophy. Let me start with the quote to the world. Dear teachers, you may be just a teacher, but your students, you are a hero. But once again, good morning to all the heroes and heroines of Ernakulam region. And all of you know that if you are a hero and heroine, you should be a evergreen hero or evergreen heroine. Therefore, for that, Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan has taken this famous quote by Henry Ford. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. That is why Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan is giving a lot of opportunity for you to learn, unlearn and relearn also. But this is one of the opportunity given by the Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan in the form of in-service course. And ZED Mumbai and all the ZEDs are playing a vital role in keeping you young. Let me start my presentation. And suppose in some places I may be asking you to respond. You may respond by unmuting your mic, or you can put it in the chat box. I am able to read it from the other device. That is why I have joined in two devices, so that if anything is coming in the chat box, I can read and I can react. Now this no need to give response to it. What we will do is we will go in a very way of first we will see what is definition of learning. We will see what is the definition of teaching. Then we will see what is the definition of education. Because whenever we are talking about learning and teaching, then there may be a part of education. Then we will go to philosophy of education. Then let us see why that your own philosophy is required. Now, so many definitions have come for learning. Learning is defined as a process that brings about behavioral changes to a person. This PPT has been already converted into a PDF, and I will share it immediately after this session with Mr. Anil Mogan. Therefore, from your course director, you can get the total PPT in the form of PDF. Well, learning is defined as a process that brings about behavioral changes. I think this is a very interesting definition. However, when a person learns, there should be a change in the behavior. And it is still that must be acquired by individual as a student and later as working adult. That is why I already told you that to keep yourself as a evergreen hero or a evergreen heroine, you should learn. There is a famous proverb which tells that never stop learning because life will never stop teaching. Never stop learning because life will never stop teaching. So life is giving you a lot of, it will teach you. So you have to learn a lot. People learn differently based on their individual unique style of learning. This last one I want to pinpoint, because as the children are learning in a different way, I think there is a very famous, every time we will tell that Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan is a heterogeneous group of even faculty members and also students. Therefore, they learn differently based on their individual style. And what is teaching? Now you see, learning, we have seen three definitions which will give you a lot of information. What is teaching? On the other hand, denote a process to facilitate learning. Whatever the learning required, the teaching will facilitate. Teaching also refers to the presentation of knowledge and ability of skills. That is why whenever we are talking about in the class, we tell that we should not give them the knowledge only, we have give them the skill only, skill also. That's why NEP in most of the places, it actually gives a lot of idea about the skill development among children. Therefore, the teaching should demonstrate the ability, the skill also. Effective teaching enables students to make connections of the world and the new knowledge to form new ideas. Regarding teaching, you see, most of us are having B.Ed and M.Ed and any degree in education required for your post. Whenever we are doing our education in degree in education or something, there we will learn how to teach. There we will learn how to teach. But after becoming a teacher, what will you do? You will teach to learn. I repeat, whenever you are doing any degree, B.Ed or M.Ed or whatever may be, any degree connected with how to teach, there you will learn how to teach. But when after becoming a teacher, you have to teach, then how to learn. Okay, well. Then the next one is, in teaching, when you just want every letter, if you want to give a appropriate word for it, T stands for supporting, E is empowering, A is engaging, you are seeing it, C is caring and so on, to G is assessing. And you are seeing that assessing is come only at the last stage. and reflecting is a very interesting thing, and sharing is also, caring and sharing is very, very important. Well, now there are three keys of teaching, and whenever you are a teacher, you should be prepared, you should be concerned, and you should be yourself. Now, we have seen what is learning and what is teaching. Now, what is education? Primary aim of education to impart the desired knowledge, and through the process of education, students are expected to enhance their critical thinking and make well-formed decisions. Education is provided not only by instructors, but also when one learned through experience in real life. That is why whenever we are talking about knowledge, we will always tell that there is two types of knowledge. One is informal and another is formal. And you know the difference between them, what is formal and informal. And you see, whenever we are talking about this education, it derived from the word educate, which means leading out the student into a wider world of knowledge. So now as a teacher, we should use the education to help the children in leading out into a wider world of knowledge. Now let us see how the education system has evolved. It was a disciple in Gurukul, and I think even some of them will tell that is the best way of learning, because all our Vedas and Upanishads came from the disciple way of learning only. And after that, that student were a passive listener in the class. A for apple, B for ball, and everything they were going on repeating. Then after that, they started actively participating in teaching learning process. You can remember that when CC was involved, we divided it into FA1, FA2, FA3, FA4, where FA2 and FA4 was specially meant only for activities. Now also activities are there. Even in mathematics of class 10th and 12th, there is some marks given for activities for the children. However, now the children actively participated in the teaching learning process. Just the passive one has become active one. Now, do you know what really happened now? They are digitally connected with you now. Even now, I am digitally connected with you. We used to tell that actually this when teaching through this online, it is a kind of maybe you can call it as a new thing for us, because we used to react with 45 teachers in a room. Therefore, whenever we are seeing their faces, suppose if they see that they are losing some interest from their face, immediately we will change the way of our teaching. But it is very difficult now, and I hope that all of you are smiling on the other side of the camera. No problem. I am digitally connected with you now. Now the students are digitally connected now. Now the question is, how can you follow the same teaching learning process? Can you follow the Gurukul system? You can't follow the passive listener system. Even if you cannot follow even the actively participated system. Now how to follow the same teaching learning process? It is not possible. Now you see, this was the desk for a particular child when he was even in class. Maybe you can take a child of class 5. Now his desk has changed like this now. But even you have to change yourself. Now you should become a multitasker. Now, in the 21st century educator, if you are, you should have all of the following characteristics: adapter, communicator, learner, visionary, leader. You should be a model, you should be a collaborator, you should be a risk taker. Now, how to convert you to become a 21st century educator? The tips are given in NCF, the tips are given in NEP. Now, let us see what is philosophy of education. To become a 21st century educator, you should know about philosophy of education. Now, whenever the word philosophy is used, some of you may be thinking that, oh, this is actually which is cannot be understood. Remember, the word philosophy is derived from two words, love and wisdom. Therefore, philosophy means love of wisdom. Therefore, whenever I'm talking about philosophy of your statement of philosophy, it is nothing but statement of your love of wisdom. I hope that all of you will love your wisdom. Therefore, your philosophy is nothing but love of wisdom. Now, let us try to look about the philosophy of education very quickly, because this philosophy of education is required for you to get into that your philosophy of STP, that is teaching philosophy. Now, this philosophy of education, what it does? It gives a light to the goal, to the forms, to the method, and to the meaning. Okay. Now, what are the philosophies? Let us have a good look. Essentialism. I think some of this you might have read it in B.Ed also, or those who are having an habit of browsing, you might have seen that these are all the philosophies: progressivism, behaviorism, reconstructivism, then perennialism, then existentialism, and constructivism. And I think you might have heard about two words: behaviorism and constructivism everywhere. But the remaining things you might have heard it. Let us see one after the other very quickly. Essentialism, word itself tells that why to teach, to instill students with the essentials of academic knowledge, of enacting a back to basic approach. I think I knew B2B already we had an idea about training the mind which are essential, that is essentialism. Let us go to the next one. Perennialism, it is the idea that are everlasting, to teach students to think rationally and develop mind that can think critically. Now, like this, I think CCT they are talking about. Now the children has been asked to think critically by asking some question, even in the classroom also and in the question papers also. The third one, progressivism, and you know that every child has to progress. Therefore, why to teach? To develop learners into becoming enlightened and intelligent citizens. That is why we are, whenever any topic is being conducted in the class, we want them to connect it with the real life and ask them to just have a ponder over that particular idea. Then the third one is very interesting. This is actually being given more focus in the NEP to help students understand and appreciate themselves as unique individuals. They should understand what is their capacity, whether they are good in other than maybe some of them may be good in social work, some of them may be good in skill work, like that. Focus on individual freedom to choose their own purpose in life. That is why after 8th standard they can select, after 10th standard they can select, after 12th standard they can select, that they can choose their own purpose in life. The next one is behaviorism, and it is a very interesting one. Being so many theories are there, maybe one of the basic we started with what is learning. We told that it should change the behavior to modify and shape students' behavior. Next one is constructivism, and I think after this 2010 or 2008, so many type of talks were going on in constructivism to develop motivated and independent learners equipped with learning skills. Whatever the learning skills required, we will sort it out and we will give the training to the children. And the next one is reconstructivism. Very interesting. The addressing the social question and the quest to create a better society. That is why even we know that we are always telling the children, please go out after you learn from the school and serve the nation. They should have a social reform. There should be a reformer. The education should give them this type of ideas to attain social reform. Then the philosophies, I list it out. Essentialism, it is learning the essential. Perennialism, utilizing the great books. Progressivism, learning by doing. Essentialism, having individual choice. Behaviorism, modifying behavior. Constructivism, constructing meaning. And reconstructivism, and having social reform. Okay, and I think some of you may be knowing that apart from this, there are so many schools are there: idealism, realism, naturalism, and so on. Okay, I don't want to go for it. But now, my question starts. Now, you see, you have seen some philosophies over here. I will go back to that philosophy once again. I started with this philosophy, and in every philosophy, I asked one question: why teach? Why teach? Why teach? Why teach? Why teach? Why teach? Now, can you tell me what question is missing? If you want to add any more question, please unmute your mic and you can talk, or otherwise you can put it in the chat box. I have asked only one question. I have explained you why teach. Is there any other question missing or any other question to be added on these philosophies? You are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, fantastic. I think one madam has given the answer. Sorry, I forgot it. Lalita madam and Bindu. Thank you very much. They have given a fantastic answer. How to teach. Oh, another one is what are teaching methods? There were two questions I got. One is how, and another is what. Any other question? How and what? Well,
When
yes, madam. I think somebody has muted. Muted your
Lalita
mic. And you
madam
can,
asked when to teach.
yes,
Lalita
madam?
madam asked when to teach.
Okay, when to teach. Okay. Now you have, I think, 50% of your teaching philosophy class is over at this part, because when you know about these philosophies, when you ask the question what to teach and how to teach, and if you list out the methods of how to teach and the content of what to teach, your statement of teaching philosophy will start. Therefore, based on the philosophies of education, you should ask a question: how to teach and what to teach and when to teach. Now, let us continue with our idea now. Now, my question is, four questions I am going to ask you in teaching philosophy. I told you that the how, what, when, why. These are all the questions which you have to ask in teaching philosophy. And the answers, when you put it in the form of a statement, that is the statement of teaching philosophy. Now, can I get some answers for this question, why I teach? You can unmute your mic and you can talk, or otherwise you can put it in the chat box. Why you teach? Okay, Mr. Bindu madam has given that it is my passion. Thank you. Any other response? Can I get one more response so that I can reveal the answers which I am having? But the answers which I am going to show you, it has been taken from the net, may match with you. Madam has given, it is my passion. Oh, to make my students think. It is the response given by Janius Jacob. And to bring a change in the child, very good. It is by Reena madam. Every child is a special and important. I'm happy to teach young mind. It is Chamba Gautam madam. And Sarada madam has given that to enlighten children. Thank you. Now let us go for the answer. Why I teach? Serving as mentor, encouraging lifelong learning. I think somebody has given that. Sharing my enthusiasm for learning, improving science literacy, and as I told you earlier, this I have taken from a science one, therefore it is written as science literacy. There you can change it with your own wording, improving some literacy, whichever you are related, showing the creativity and fun and parts of learning. Okay, to make the so children will learn, I love children, to enlighten children, to make the student aware of surrounding. Thank you very much for your response. Let us go to the next question. What I teach? Don't write I teach EVS, I teach Max, I teach English. Okay, that everybody knows. Related with the philosophy of education. Life skills. Response from Smita Nambiar. Smita Nambiar madam. Life skill. Sensitivity by Ms. Sindhu. And Lalita madam has written values. And Surendra has written how to learn. Okay. Good. I will reveal the statement which I have. Student responsibility and accountability. I think this was, you know that in CCE, a separate point was given for responsibility. Critical, creative and bold thinking. And we have never thought about this bold thinking. We always talk about creative thinking and critical thinking. Questioning, very important. Problem solving, communication. Once again, I tell you that this has been taken from a science teacher, where there science is for everyone, and you can tell that maths is for everyone. If I ask me, I will tell that mathematics is for the world. Okay, anyway, shall I go to the next question, please? I think away them to know about their passion, adjust with surrounding. I try to manage a change in their character throughout my teaching by Bindu madam. Well, thank you. Let us go to the next one. How I teach. Highly interesting. You see, when you answer this question, I tell you, friends, your statement of teaching philosophy, you are giving a birth to it. How I teach. Think and give one or two points. You can unmute and tell also if you feel that typing takes some time. I am able to hear you. Uh, uh, Jacob Madam has written, connecting students to their life experience and surrounding. Bijumol has written, developing from their previous knowledge. Indra K has written, through my activities. Sindhu has written, letting the student think by themselves. Fantastic. Mini Madam has written, according to the child's interest. And Dhaka Mukesh, through surrounding and day to the example, and Smita and I are connecting to life. And Bindu Madam by inspiring them to know the unknown. Lalita Madam apply new knowledge and by motivation to enable. Okay, thank you very much. This is actually you have to teach. Very instructional strategies. When you write your STP only, you will try to know that how to change your instructional strategies. Consider learning style and aptitude. Actively engage student. Use technology for instruction. I think this might have been quoted by most of our officers nowadays, starting from deputy commissioner to principals. Student access to real world technologies. Okay. Thank you very much. I think somebody has written to enable to relate to the children through game and activity. Chamba Gautam has written by understanding the individual need and correlating them with real life example. Thank you. Let us go to the last part of it, which is very, very important. Sometimes we may not do it due to lack of time. How do I measure my effectiveness? Again, I repeat, the question is how you measure your children effectiveness. It is how you measure your effectiveness. You can unmute if you are facing it a little bit difficult to type. You can unmute and talk. I will be able to hear it. Sindhu Madam has started reflecting on my work by children response through their love. Fantastic. This can be written in primary very nicely. Through children development and performance. Mini Madam has raised a hand. Madam, can you ask? You can unmute and ask, Madam, please. Through children development and performance. Good. From the love of my student and parents. From the love of my student and parents.
By the children's response, sir.
Yeah, definitely, Madam. You can have the effectiveness by seeing the response. Good. Response and affection expressed by children and parents. Good. I think somebody has included the parent also. Fantastic. Brijmal has written through the behavioral change. Fantastic. Darsha, give a task when they do self-happily. Reena has written through the response in class, even late bloomer. Fantastic. Sati Devi has written how they use in daily life. Sapna has written by desired change in the child. Chamba Madam has written by analyzing my child ability. Lada Madam has written by their broad smile. Oh, this I am actually missing in the online classes. Well, how I measure my effectiveness? This is the thing. Reflective practice. I think this was the great thing nowadays. One or two topics are being taken in most of the workshop. Reflective teaching and reflective practices. Authentic assessment. You see, this particular person has not used the word simply assessment. He has used the word authentic assessment. Okay, seed the advice and feedback of colleagues. I don't think we will be doing it, but it is better to do it. Seed the advice and feedback of colleagues and communicate with the student and parents. This is the way you can measure your effectiveness. I will repeat the whole thing once again. These are the 4 major questions. When you ask and when you get the answer, when you start writing it in the form of a statement, when you compile it, it is nothing but the teaching philosophy of you. That is your own teaching philosophy. Why I teach, what I teach, how I teach, how I measure my effectiveness. Let us go into a little bit elaboration. This is my teaching philosophy. 4 questions are very important. Why I teach, what I teach, how I teach, how I measure. And all of them should be student centered. That is very, very important. And you can use your learning, you can use your own innovation ideas, you can use the networking, and you can share it with others so that your teaching philosophy will get a better shape. And in teaching philosophy, it will be, suppose you are teaching with the heart is the main part of it, which is the heart of your teaching philosophy, you should have these type of branches in it: active engagement, building enthusiasm, honoring different, building trust, self-improvement, continuing assessment, fairness, positive environment. And the foremost thing which I want to tell you, that ask why before how. Ask why before how. Then only you will get better answers. Okay, well, therefore, you know you are a teacher, you are teaching, but you know the steps you have to follow in teaching. Number one, you should facilitate thinking. You should engage minds. You should listen to questions. You should encourage risk. You should support struggle. You should cultivate dreams. And you should learn every day. And then only you will teach. This you have to remember. If you start with facilitate thinking and then you learn every day, if you go in this ladder, then you will reach that I will teach. Therefore, when you want to teach, you have to answer, you have to do all this kind of thing. But how to do it? If you write your teaching philosophy and bring it to practice. Let us go into details now. Palmer in 1997, he told, good teaching comes from the identity and integrity. I have underlined the word identity and integrity. These are the two things very important, because remember, a teacher will be introduced by his identity only, and you should have integrity and your own ability to make this present in the classroom. In the classroom, you should have your own integrity, you should have your own identity. Let us move on to the key NEP. Now let us see what is actually told in NEP about this teaching philosophy. All of you may be interested to know what is the original statement given there. These are all some key principles. I don't want to go deep into it, but in which I think Sangathan is taking even one part of it. All the 8, they are elaborating it and they are going on doing a lot of workshop. They are preparing modules. We are also doing some work on that. Well, now in this, there is a word called autonomy in choosing aspects of pedagogy. When I took this session in some other region, the region asked me, sir, give me one heading for your talk. Then I told a statement of philosophy. Then they told that, sir, whenever we use the word philosophy, it will be a little bit confusing for the children. Therefore, I told, use the word autonomy in choosing pedagogy. They were very happy, because whenever a person is given autonomy, if somebody is telling that I am giving you autonomy to do your own work, all of us will be happy. Therefore, in NEP 2020 chapter 5, if you go to 5.14, this is the statement given. Teachers will be given more autonomy in choosing aspects of pedagogy so that they may teach in the manner they find most effective for the students in the classroom. The meaning is, autonomy should be given to the teacher in choosing the aspects of pedagogy. I am underlining the word once again. It is a very important word. Teachers will be given more autonomy in choosing aspects of pedagogy. Now the meaning is that when you want to choose these aspects of pedagogy, you should ask some questions based on the philosophy of education, then philosophy of teaching, then you will have your own teaching philosophy. You see, this is actually a way of arrow marks to give you that how you will develop your own philosophy. From teacher driven, you should go to student driven. Like that, I have given some points. Here, from student as student, you should have a student as colleague. Local comment should be holistic comment and so on. Suppose if it is a content focus, it should be process or application focused. Because all of you know that there are two types of knowledge whenever you are giving it in the class. One is theoretical knowledge, another will be the knowledge the child is been getting about the conceptual knowledge. Where we should give the more idea to the concept. Okay, anyway. Our teaching philosophy should have what is learning, classroom management, technology, honoring difference and other stuff also. Well, the teaching philosophy, how to write it. Before you write it, now let me tell you the cycle. First you write it, then definitely your teaching philosophy will get dust. What is the meaning of getting dust? Because every year when you are start your teaching, the new batch will start. Definitely there will be a difference in the learning mode. Therefore, read teaching philosophy in preparation for application and all. Then think This is embracing bad. I was naive and bad at teaching. Again, you write it. Therefore, this teaching philosophy, don't think that if you write it in the year 2021 in the month of August, it is applicable to April 2022. No, you have to write it once again, depending on the present batch of children, those who are going to handle. Well, now let us see what is actually the meaning of teaching philosophy. It is a statement, in a brief, personal statement that offers insight into an instructed belief about teaching and action in the classroom. Personal statement that offers insight. Okay. What brings a teaching philosophy to life is the extent to which it creates a vivid portrait how a person is intentional about teaching practice and committed to career. Let us see what are the purpose. Whenever you are writing the teaching philosophy, how it will help you. It expresses your personal belief, opinion, and views about what you do as a teacher. Intended to be used as for reflection, guidance, and personal development. The more effective when you revisit and revise it frequently. That I was expressing it in that cycle. You have to revisit and revise it frequently. Don't think that once written, just like the lesson plan which we are copying from year to year, this teaching philosophy should not be copied. And provide a developmental history of your growth as a teacher. And at last, it can be supplemented with a short essay that reflect your teaching experience over the course of each semester. And your first statement is very interesting. It expresses your personal belief, opinion, and views about what you do as a teacher. So whenever you start writing the teaching philosophy, it will give you a total impression about actually what is your personal belief. Remember that your personal belief may sometime may be wrong. I don't think that every person's belief which we are having our impression about the child, the first impression about the set of children which we are going to deal in a particular year, it may be sometime wrong, sometime it may come true also. Therefore, this teaching philosophy expresses your personal belief. The third point, if you revisit and revise it, your personal belief, you will have a check whether my personal belief and my opinion and views are right or wrong. Therefore, this teaching philosophy to be written and it should be revised. That is very, very important. Well, now a question will come. Sir, why I have to write? Normally, this question will come in your mind. Well-defined STP is essential for creating and maintaining a culture supportive of learning. STP means, I think, short form I am using, statement of teaching philosophy. I am using the word STP because in some book they are using statement of philosophy. Our Sangathan has asked us to use only the word STP for uniformity. STP means statement of teaching philosophy. And the process helps the teacher clarify the why of teaching and the foundation for what and how. I think these are the three questions you should be very careful. And I want to emphasize on the words. This was given by Goodyear and Alchin in the year 1998. But we are talking about this STP in the year 2021. Well, we are not too late. Now, some words are very important in this statement. I wish to highlight them. The first is culture supportive of learning. And the three different important words are why, what, and how. I want to highlight them. Culture supportive of learning, why of teaching, what and how of teaching. These are very, very important. Okay, let us move on to the next statement by Kearns and Sullivan in 2001 and Kalpan et al. In 2008. Maybe a recent way of telling about STP. The very act of taking time to reflect on your teaching can help you clarify your own beliefs or reveal inconsistencies, thereby facilitating change and improvement that foster personal and professional growth. Here also I wish to underline the word. It helps you to clarify your own beliefs or reveal your own inconsistencies. Don't get shocked to see the word inconsistencies. The meaning is you should take it in a positive sense. If I have some inconsistencies in giving a kind of teaching, so that a child the teaching should reach the children, that is my inconsistency. It is my own belief. I have to change it. Help you clarify your own belief or reveal inconsistencies, thereby facilitating change and improvement. Well, what are the components? These are the components. Don't worry about this STP. I am giving you a set of questions which is being framed by us. If you answer those questions one after the other, your statement of teaching philosophy will get a shape. First thing is you should know about what are the concepts involved in teaching. Then similarly, what are the concepts involved in learning? Then what are the understanding of the learner? It's very, very important. When you understand the learner only, you can have your own method of teaching. Then understanding of the content, it is very, very important. Well, assessment and evaluation, I think I used the word. It should be authentic assessment. Then methodology to be used. Whenever you are talking about this teaching concept, then concept of teaching, concept of learning, understanding the learner, understanding the content, and when you come for how to do the assessment and learning, definitely you will go for your methodology to be used. Then at last, relationship with the student, it is very, very important. Well, these are the components. Whenever you are writing the STP, your statement of teaching philosophy, it should cover all these points. Concept of teaching, concept of learning, understanding learner, understanding the content, assessment and methodology to be used, what the methodology you got to use, then how will you keep your relationship with the students intact. Well, now a question will come. I know the content now. Then what can be included? Theoretic, there are two parts. One is theoretical framework. What does learning look like? How does learning take place? The second one is instructional goal. Whenever you are talking about what does learning, how does learning take place, definitely you should go for how to give your instructions. Therefore, this comes the instructional goal. What do you want student to learn in your class? In which subject matter? In which university? Okay, these are the two things which you have to remember. One is theoretical framework. Another is instructional goal. You have to write the answers for both of them, both the theoretical framework and also for the instructional goal, and your STP will get a shape. Before you go for STP, there is a very famous thing called teaching cube. All of you know that how many faces a cube is having. Like that, when you want to learn the teaching philosophy or when you want to write the teaching philosophy, you should have each face of the cube and you have to ask questions on that. Phase number 1 is learning. Examine each of the side of the cube to choose aspect of pedagogy. One is learning. What are the questions you have to ask? What motivates to learn? And why is this mode common? And the second phase, why would you motivate others similarly? Then the other phase of the cube is action. What do value certain characteristics in teacher and then express those even in own teaching? I think you know that what do you value certain characteristics in teachers. I think all of you know that as a teacher, we will never teach values and we will show them the values by our action. The third phase of the cube is difference. Very important. Why does what you do in your teaching make a difference in life of others? Why it is relevant? These are the questions you have to ask before you write your teaching philosophy. The fourth phase is values. I already told you, we don't teach value in the class. We show them the values. What values do you impart in your students and why? And next phase is settings. What do you develop the learning environment and the relationship with the student as you do? That is the how you set your teaching and learning setup in the class. The last phase of the cube is enjoyment. It's a must. I think all of you know that even everybody we will tell that whatever our teaching and learning process should be an enjoyable one. What are your favorite statement and why are they favorites? Now these are the phases of the cube. Therefore you have to teach, you have to act. I think you can see what are the phases. Well, once again I will show you very quickly. First phase is learn. The second phase is action. The third phase is a difference. Fourth phase is value. Fifth phase is setting. And the last and the final phase is enjoy. Okay. Now, to ask some questions, I am just giving you so many examples I am going on giving you. But remember, you have to select your own question and you have to write the answers for it. Then your statement of teaching philosophy will get a shape. How does learning happen? For that, you have to get a clue from learning theory. What occurs during an episode of learning? Summarize your observation about learning. I think in the class, how the children learn. That is actually the question. Second question is, what is quality teaching? This actually you have to ask a question. How do you facilitate? What is the role of the teacher in 21st century? Teacher role regarding content, assessment and feedback. The third question you have to ask in writing the statement is, how will you foster student growth? Very important. How will you foster lifelong learning? How will you motivate students? Fourth question, how will you put your teaching philosophy into practice? Then question number 5, what is your personal growth plan? These are all very interesting. Okay. Now this is one way of writing the teaching philosophy by writing the answers for these questions. Then I will give you some examples of teaching philosophy taken from net. Somebody has written, all students can learn when they are accepted for who and when they are in their educational journey. Effective learning requires a collaboration between the teacher and student. I believe learning takes place best in the positive, safe environment. Art education provides students with a new avenues. Art education is essential for equipping students. That may be written by art teacher. This actually a teacher has written a teaching philosophy, some points. But remember, writing a point will never give you the total picture about the teaching philosophy. You should write that how will you implement it. You see, one more teacher has written his teaching philosophy, 5 points. Point number 1, I think I will read it if it is very small for you to read it from your screen. Learning is a physical change in the neutral network and pathway in our brain. The teacher has written about what is learning. Point number 2, children learn through behaviorism, constructivism and cognitivism. I told you that you have to write in the teaching philosophy how students learn. That is a very big question. Then based on that only you can plan your teaching. Then point number 3, the learning theory that best matches my teaching philosophy is constructivism. You see, out of the 3, the teacher has selected constructivism because he feels that based on the present situation, the present batch, based on their learning situation, based on their learning way of learning, I have selected the learning theory is constructivism because I want to make things more hands-on and interactive. Then point number 4, the strategy that I will use more often in my classroom are things that allow my student to be hands-on and interact. You see, she has told that how she will have his own plan of strategies. Then point number 5, I will help student with the different learning preferences by adapting what I teach when needs for student. This is actually the point number 5 is nothing but how you are keeping a relationship with the children, maybe outside the classroom also. Now you see, a teacher has given teaching philosophy in a very simple way. He started with what is learning, and he has written that how the children learn. And in the third point, she or he might noted down that what type of learning she has selected, and she has given the reason for that also. And in point number 4, he has written that what the strategy he or she will adopt in the classroom. And chapter number 5, he will try to keep the whole system or the whole environment as an enjoyable one. And one more teaching philosophy, I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget. If you don't like something, change it. I hope to ignite the fire in you to have a passion for math. There actually a teacher has written that how he will go about giving the children that more hands-on work in the class. Well, now your personal teaching philosophy must contain the following. As I told you earlier, teaching philosophy is your own teaching philosophy. Therefore, the style will differ from person to person, definitely. But there are certain, maybe you can call it as a ground rule, that it should contain the following thing. Number 1, how students should acquire knowledge, both method and content. And what are your way of doing it? How students should acquire intellectual skills. You should mention the both method and content. The third one, how students should acquire ideas and values, both method and content. These 3 should be there so that your teaching philosophy will get maybe a better final shape. Knowledge, intellectual skill, ideas and values. Okay. Let me tell you, show you 1 or 2 personal teaching philosophies, because all of you will be highly interested to know, sir, how to start and how to ask questions. Because remember, teaching philosophy start with asking questions and answering them, or maybe writing statements for that. And mere it will not be a statement, it will be giving you a strategy also. Now, first one is, what is your concept of learning? How do you student learn? I think you have to ask the question, and you have to write below that what is your concept and how do you student learn. Then question number 2, what belief theories may successful teaching learning? How do you best facilitate it? Out of all the learning method the child is learning, because you know that every child learn in a different fashion. But out of the theories, what is your belief that will make successful teaching? Then point number 3, why do you teach the way you do? You have to give, sir, I have selected constructivism because of this. I have selected this particular philosophy because my children need it. Like, okay. What do you see as your role as a teacher? Why do you teach? Remember that teacher job is not only to teach. All of you know that. I think you have already expressed it in the chat box that it is not only for simple teaching. It is having more responsibilities than simply teaching. The next set of questions. What are your goals for your students? Remember, highly interesting. This question is not that what are the goals of your student. If you ask, they will come and tell that, sir, I will become a doctor, I will become an engineer, I will become a pilot. But what are your goals for your students? Very important. Then only you can plan the way to give them markdarshan. You can give them. What are your goals for yourself as a teacher? Highly interesting. What are your goals for your students and what are your goals as a teacher? Then the next question, how are your values and belief realized in classroom activities? Very interesting. Suppose you go to the class and the way you are behaving. I think it may not be possible in online classes, but your values and belief, how it is realized in the classroom activity. The next question, what do you believe that motivates students to engage in their learning? Maybe your activities, how you are motivating them, how you motivate them. What do you believe best to motivate? What do you believe best motivates students to engage in their learning? When you answer these questions, remember that you will come to a conclusion whether the methodology you have selected or the way of teaching you have selected, is it fit to whatever you have written? Then you can change or plan accordingly. Now, this is one of the templates, teaching philosophy template. My aspirations, what methods will I consider to reach this goal? How will I assess student understanding? On the right side, you can write the answers. I told you earlier, for teaching philosophy, there is not a single template available in the net, but there are certain ground rules which should to be answered in your philosophy so that it will have a better shape. I will show you one more teaching philosophy. I was able to download it from the net, which I will show you. This also I will share it with you. This is a teaching philosophy, sample teaching philosophy. Actually, here you see, read through some of the sample statement and you have to give your comment on that. Somebody has written on College of Business. I think, is it visible? I think I will little bit enlarge it. Okay. Somebody has written on College of Business. And one person has written on education because he's a teacher of education. And another person has written on engineering. Maybe some of them may not be relevant to us. Somebody has written on English, how he teaches English, then how a student learn. Okay. Then my teaching philosophy has both traditional and radical roots. Okay. If you have time, please go through it. I will share it with you. The next person has written on Italian studies. I think it has been taken from a foreign journal. Therefore, it contains most of the subjects. The next one is on mathematics. Good. Oh, I base my teaching on the belief that the only way to learn mathematics is to do mathematics. I think everybody agree with that. Okay. While the process of reading examples and proofing textbook and from lecture notes is valuable, the real learning comes through one's own effort at mathematical problem, either computational, theoretical, or both. This is achieved mostly through class assignment, but also through in-class discussion and exercises. I view my role as a facilitator for this process. I must design the framework. You see how he has to plan. That also this particular teacher has written. I must design the framework in which learning can take place and then stimulate and nurture the student development, giving help in terms of knowledge, technique, and encouragement. My goal in teaching are not just to promote learning of the subject. I also try to help the student learn to think logically, learn problem solving methods and techniques and improve writing skills and so on. In addition, I try to help students see the course material in a holistic context by requiring them to synthesize the various concepts of the course by applying them together. As this is a little bit relevant, I read it totally. And somebody has written in entomology, which may be out of our focus. I think somebody has written on science. I think this you can write, but this is actually miscellaneous. Okay, well, now this is the way a teaching philosophy is to be written. But as you all of you know that whenever we are want to write anything, we need some tips. Okay, we need some questions that I am giving you very quickly. You include an introduction, body, and conclusion. These are the tips. Keep it brief, very clear. Keep it brief, to the point. Use first person and present tense. I. It should be okay. Okay, we have to do. Don't tell, because you are not writing a teaching philosophy for the whole batch. You are writing the teaching philosophy for yourself. It is your own teaching philosophy, and it should be present tense. Avoid technical jargon. Then discuss strategies and methods. It is very, very important. Don't tell that the children do like this. They are not able to read properly. They are not able to solve properly. They are very poor in reading. They are very poor in this one. I feel very bad about it. Like that, don't leave it as it is hanging. You should discuss the strategies and methods. And for constructing STP, I am giving you some set of questions. This particular slide, I am sharing it with your course director. And normally when we conducted this STP, what we did was these questions were given to the participants, and the participants were asked to write the answers for it in a briefly, maybe in the form of a small paragraph or maybe some points, bullet points, and they were asked to submit it or present it. I don't know what is the plan of your course director. It is only my suggestion. It will be very nice if you ask them, all of them, to write the answer for all the questions of this constructing STP. But while presenting, to keep the time factor in mind, every group may be asked to give their suggestion or their philosophy statements for only any two questions in order. Question number 1. This is actually designed by me. I don't know. You can add some questions also. How do children learn? The question number 2. How should I teach? You see, whenever the learning comes, then you should be ready to teach based on the learning strategies. Is it not? Highly interesting. How do I motivate? Not the students. How I motivate? Not only the learners. How I motivate the unmotivated learner? Then the 4th question is, what is my role as a teacher? Remember, as I told you earlier, your role will never stop in simply teaching. Oh, highly interesting. What is the role of my students? Remember, actually, whenever you are writing the first statement, your role as a teacher, there you can have a checkpoint whether you are fulfilling all your roles. But in the next step, what is the role of my student whenever you are going to write? My child should like this, my should do this, my child should do this. But remember, you should just ask one question. For the students to perform their role, what is your role in that? I repeat, for the children to perform their role as a student, what is your role as a teacher to do it? Well, the next question is, what are my prime objective as the leader in the class? I know that everybody is a leader in your own class. Well, what learning outcome can I anticipate? This is actually depending on the way you are teaching. Maybe you may be teaching in a particular way, then you will be trying to get the learning outcome. Then the last question, how do I measure the success of my student? I think of my student or myself, both are on the same. Therefore, how many questions are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 questions are there. I think this is only a suggestion. Your course director can ask everybody to write their own statement of philosophy on all these questions, or they can add some question to that. and you can have a group work, and after the group work is over, and you can ask any of the group wise, they can ask come out for that, to have keep it in mind the time constraint. They can ask them to give the answer for first two, next two, like that. You can plan accordingly. I have no this one on that. Okay, it is left to the course director and the resource persons. This I am sharing with you. Therefore, there won't be any problem in noting down the questions or having any confusion with the question. The last question: how do I measure the success of my students and myself? That also you can write. Well, therefore, I hope that exactly I am finishing it by 11. I will write and edit an unmatched teaching philosophy. Therefore, after this session, everybody will be confident enough to tell me that, sir, I will write, and not only you will write, and also you will edit an unmatched teaching philosophy. Your teaching philosophy will have no match with others. Therefore, once again, thank you very much for your patience hearing. Any question, please? I have exactly closing at 11. Any question, please? Any comments or any questions? I wish to stop my sharing.
Dear teachers, if you have any queries, you can very well clear your doubts now.
Somebody is asking, is there any word limit? But already I told you, please be brief. That is actually a caution to you to have your own check on the word limit. But remember, there is no word limit. But there is only a limit is that all the points should be there. That is very, very important, because as I told you earlier, when you start writing this philosophy, actually you are shaping your own teaching. That is the basic idea of this teaching philosophy. You have to shape your teaching. Any other question, please? That was the question I received just now. That is there any word limit? Sapna madam has asked. No word limit, madam. But be brief, because don't write so many paragraphs in that. Any other question or any other comment?
So I would like to give a comment.
Yes, madam, please.
It was a really enriching experience. Your class was wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Is it Anil Mohan sir is present? Now I think he's available.
Yes, sir. I am very much present. I was here only.
Okay, sir. Sir, thank you very much. That's personally I want to thank you. That is why.
Thank you, sir.
I want
Thank
to check
you.
whether you are available.
Yeah, I was here only, sir. I was.
Okay, sir. Okay, fine.
Group 1.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm here. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to thank Mr. M. Srinivasan, Mathematics Faculty, JIET, Mumbai, and a multi-talented person and a very experienced in training the teachers like us. Sir, you have explained the teaching philosophy in a wonderful manner by elaborating different terms like learning, teaching, education, and explained many other terms, and then teaching philosophy and different types of the teaching philosophies are explained in detail. Then the importance of one having his or her own teaching philosophy is explained. We are very blessed to listen the lecture from a great genius like you. I once again thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, madam. I have just shared the PDF file of the PPT with our course director in his WhatsApp. I requested him to share it with all the participants.
Sure, I got it, sir. Thank you. I will be sharing, sir. I will be sharing to all the participants.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you once again, sir. Thank you once again. Thanks to everybody. Bye.